the president of today's function and the chairman of the society, Mr. Kashyap Bhai, former Vice Chancellor Dr. Parikh, Shri Mukesh Bhai, Shri Sanidhya, Dr. Kapadia, Shri Manoj Bhai, the distinguished audience, participants. At the outset, let me convey my sincere appreciations to the organizers of this conference for making it possible for me to come here and share my views on this very important subject. It's always a pleasure to visit Surat, as this is the city where I have been fortunate to enjoy the appreciation and affection of the friends for almost over 3.5 decades. Once again here, therefore, is a great pleasure. To begin with, I would like to start with the greatest thinker of this century, Alvin Toffler. He has said 3 things. Number 1, he has said technology will invade every field of life. Each and every field. If you look at even a common housewife and just count some of the technology she is using, right from the morning she begins her day till she strikes the bed. Because she operates oven, mixer grinder, washing machine, mobile phone, maybe surfs internet, something she wants to order from Flipkart, so also gets herself exposed to e-commerce, drives her children to the school, picks them back, so on and so forth. So if a common housewife is a lame duck without the use of technology, I don't think you can think of any other sphere of activity which is not influenced by the technology. The second thing Toffler has said is that the pace at which the technological changes will take place will be so great that if you sleep in the night and don't update yourself in the morning, you will be outdated. And I think you are experiencing that. The speed at which the mobile phone technologies are changing, the speed at which some other technologies are changing, the way the banking system is changing, the way the other systems are changing is an adequate testimony to what Toffler has said. Third, what he has said is that those who adopt to it shall prosper. Those who do not shall disappear like dinosaurs. And therefore, whether you may like or not, you will not be able to keep away from the technology or the invasion of technology in your life. Trade and commerce cannot be therefore an exception. You know, trade and commerce is as eternal and as ancient as the mankind. There used to be, during old days, a system which came to be known as barter. From barter to those banjaras carrying goods from place to place. From that to conveying the goods through different modes of transportation. Auctioning the goods at a particular location, like oil was auctioned at Rotterdam. No more now, it can be dealt with from anywhere in the world. But there used to be a time when the oil tanker used to go to Rotterdam and the market was controlled by the Rotterdam prices. From there to the present day system, that is what we are talking about, e-commerce. I think with the time, the trade and commerce has also undergone a tremendous change. And that is what we are going to be discussing. And I think this is the subject matter you will be discussing all throughout the day. Now let's look at it in our context. The world is beautiful and the world is rosy because it is happening elsewhere, so it will happen in India, is not some kind of a premise to which I will submit myself to. I will take you back to 1977. You would remember an industry minister whose name was George Fernandez. And he came up with a law that any foreign establishment or company wants to operate in India will have to bring down the foreign equity holding less than 40%. With that, number of foreign companies, including IBM and Coca-Cola, went out of this country. They said, we can't submit ourselves to these kind of whimsy and frenzy norms of business. These are stifling and we will not like to operate in this environment. 1991, we saw a major relaxation beginning. That was, I think, the time when we started talking about liberalization. The investment rules were liberalized. Licensing was liberalized, foreign investment was liberalized, a draconian law called FARA was considerably liberalized. And with that, not only Coca-Cola, they came back with friends and relatives. Pepsi also came, KFC also came, the pizzas also came, IBM also came, and Dell also came, and so other companies. I mean, today, you can source for any brand available in the world, and I think perhaps it is in India. More so in the consumer goods. Why? What is the reason? Is it that the India has so much change than 1977, or is it something else? Is it the liberalization alone responsible for that, or is it something else? To me, there is a major reason behind this. We are today rushing towards becoming the largest populated country on this globe. The World Population Report, which has been revised by the United Nations, say that by 2025 or slightly later, we will overtake China and we will be the most populated country on this globe. And I am confident, if not anything else may happen for this country, God, the way the God is kind to us, we might overtake the Chinese population much before the predicted day. This is going to happen. You will be a country with 1.35 million or 1.4 million people. Now, how does it matter? You will say you are one of the poorest countries on the globe with one of the lowest per capita income. True. But when we focus on that, when we focus on the law of averages, what escapes our mind is something which is called a niche. United States of America is 4.5 times larger than us. And it has 4.5 times lesser population approximately than India. But then if you look at the household income, which is in excess of $50,000, only 20% of the US households have household income in excess of $50,000 a year. Now in terms of price purchase parity, this is roughly 60,000 rupees a year household income in India. And you have almost more than the entire population of United States of America falling in the comparable bracket of 20%, top bracketed income group in the United States in this country. You have the burgeoning middle class, which has a tremendous purchase power. You have the market, which is the single largest free market in the world. And therefore, it matters. And therefore, things happen. And therefore, this is a happening market. When we talk of Indian market, therefore, Indian market offers immense potential. And it is going to attract the companies who are to deal with goods, especially consumer goods and services alike. Now, having said this, let us also understand that when I started narrating the types of trade, earlier it was compulsory that no see, no purchase. Unless you see the goods, unless you feel the goods, you were not able to purchase. There was no purchasing decision made. Now, these barriers also seem to be getting dislodged. You are in the real era of globalization. And that is where I will again go back to some of the predictions which I read recently in what will happen in next 20 years from now. It says that in less than 2 decades from now, the distance between New York and Tokyo, which today takes about 11.5 years, will be covered in 1.5 hours time. So I think from Surat, and Surtis are capable of doing that, if you want to go to United States for some business discussions, it will not be uncommon that you will find somebody who is yawning in the office during the daytime. You'll ask him, why are you not feeling comfortable? He'll say, no, yeah, in the night, I left by the evening flight, went to New Jersey for an important discussion or went to Chicago, I have just come back. This is going to happen. This is the first thing that is going to happen. It is further said, space travel will become feasible. And once that becomes feasible, there is also going to be an enemy of e-commerce getting born there. It says the present day cost of transportation of goods by surface transport will be reduced to barely 1%. What it costs from transporting these goods by ship from here or by aeroplane from here to another place, once the space transportation becomes feasible, this cost will be reduced to 1% because you will be putting in effort or energy for lifting the goods only to the above gravity limit. Then it will travel on its own, no energy is required, and reverse fire rocket brings it down. This is all the energy consumption that will be needed. And therefore, substantial reduction in the overall cost of transportation is foreseen. Third, supercomputers as small as cup of coffee who will become affordable and will be widely used. You will be wearing virtually indefinite memory on your sleeve. The smartphones, which are today, in India, very soon the smartphone population should reach about 500 million number. The smartphones also will be soon outdated. You will be wearing virtually indefinite memory on your sleeves, and at the tap, you will be able to recollect any information that is required, or you will be able to transact anything that you are willing to do so. Friends, why I am telling you this? I am telling you this for the simple reason that you are in for a basic revolution as far as your various habits are concerned. E-commerce is changing habit, basically. It's not something new. You are buying goods. You are taking services. It is not new that you are buying goods. You were buying goods earlier also. Buying goods through electronic platform, through using the electronic means, through using the electronic highway, that is the change in habit. And like any change in habit, the basic human behavior is any change in habit is resisted. So initially, it is going to be resisted. Initially, it is going to, because it is not the economy of scale advantage available, it is going to be capital intensive. And therefore, e-commerce is not going to be a game for many years to come for the small people to get into. Though some small people have gone into it and grown big, the Flipkart is an ideal example. In the years to come, competing with Amazon and Alibaba, you are going to have, if you want to get into the dimension that is competitive, you are going to need substantial capital investments to meet with them. And therefore, you are going to have this constraint, but with that constraint, India is a country which offers immense opportunities. 40% of this country is urbanized. This country has a huge middle class which has education. The smartphones is becoming way of life. The use of smartphones for operating these kind of transactions is now becoming way of life. And therefore, this is the class which will take these applications with wide range from apples to appliances, from food to fashion. Myntra is an ideal example. From technology to trading, and from engineering to entertainment. Every field will be invaded by this route, and these are some of the fields which I have named. Only sky is the limit. With this, friends, the turnover also will go up. This is last 2 years, virtually this is growing, and today it is estimated to be around $15 billion. By 2020. It should touch about $90 to $100 billion. That is the turnover. So, 2015 we are 5 years. This is going to grow fivefold. That is what it shows in terms of turnover. But then, where are we? if you look at the overall turnover of the world, it is close to 1.2 trillion US dollars. You are talking about $20 billion. You are talking about $100 billion little later, 5 years down the road. China has a turnover about 200 billion US dollars, 10 times what you will have in 2020. So this is the dimension. Why I am giving you these figures is that it also shows the scope and potential for growth, because you have unlimited opportunities as far as this trade and way of commerce is concerned. Now with this, I think some of the major happening things in 2015 could be online grocery will become a more and more accepted way of purchase. I mean, today this is something which is very difficult to think about, because number one, storage, and number two, transportation, number three, quality, number four, the kind of goods that you need, the variety that you need. But then the beginning is made. If you go to Bombay, there is a farm called local banya. If you that serves Mumbai and Thane area. If you are talking about big basket, that serves Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. Basic problem here is going to be storage and logistics. Even in this country today, if I go by what the Food and Agriculture Minister replied in Rajya Sabha about a year and a half back, he said we are a country which is wasting 45,000 crores worth of food grains and fruits and vegetables, simply for the reason that we don't have logistics for storage. You need cold chain facility, cold storage facility at that time, according to the Government of India's estimate, of 62 lakh tons. Compared to that, we have about 22 lakh tons. So not even half the storage capacity is there, and most of the goods, as far as we are talking about the food chain, are perishable. So a lot of expenditure along with lot of investment. This is again, when we talk about e-commerce, e-business, it cannot be talked about in isolation. If these things do not grow, the business will also not grow. If you don't have the logistics, if you don't have the cold chain, if you don't have the facility to procure and transport the goods and store at the places where it can be safely delivered, this will not grow. Another example, courier services. You have about 150,000 PIN code numbers in this country. And today, the couriers only cover about 15,000. So, then you can imagine the kind of backup services which are required as far as courier services are concerned for delivery. You need the godown facilities. You need other contingent infrastructure. So when we talk about e-business, you are not only looking at e-business alone. You can grow along with that in number of other areas. So don't stay focused only that somebody is this local mania or big basket is marketing this, and I also want to market this only. Then only I am successful. No, tie up with them. Be their backroom boys. You can tag along with any successful e-commerce operation, and there is a lot of scope. So this has a tremendous potential for ancillarization and auxiliarization. This cannot be viewed in isolation. Second thing that is going to go through is the increasing use of mobiles. In 2013, only 10% of the business that was through Luthra was through the mobile use. In 2014, it grew to 50%. This year it is estimated to grow to 70 to 75%. Increasingly, mobile and handheld means will be used for transacting e-business, and any mobile apps or anything that is to deal with it shall have a tremendous potential. With the population of mobiles growing as they are growing today, I think this could further get enhanced. Paper-based communication, therefore, the days are ending. The post offices the postcards. I think just about a year and a half or 2 years back, we had the last telegram sent. I mean, you might remember, there was the last telegram sent and there was a lot of news coverage that today will be the last telegram that will go out of the telegraph office, and then the telegraph office will close. Now, like that, perhaps a day might come when you will have a last postcard sent, last inland letter sent. This is likely to happen. May not happen so soon, but this is likely to happen because we are in the era of emails, we are in the era of WhatsApp, we are in the era of chats, we are in the era of e-communication. And with this e-communication, the post offices are becoming obsolete. Indian postal system is one of the largest in the world. And with this change in the communication style, it has run the way for the post offices. But then, you know, in Gujarati, there is a couplet which says, "Je posh tu te mar tu, evo dise kram kudrati." Exactly reverse also is true. "Je mar tu te posh tu, evo dise kram kudrati." તમારે સાપનો દંશ કોઈને થયો હોય, if there is a snake bite, to cure the snake bite, you need the venom of the snake only. So the post offices, on the other hand, are now experiencing the increased business opportunities because of delivery and logistics, which make them about 12% of the business share in the delivery and logistics sector of the e-commerce. So post offices are going to stay. Post offices are going to have the increasing share because they have the logistics, they have the investments already made, and that investment will further, in 2015, that might get further fructified or further utilized. There is also a fierce battle going to be for the top. As I made you some mentions like Flipkart, Snapdeal, Amazon, and now Alibaba. Larger players are going to be coming in this field, and therefore, increasingly, the smaller people are going to find a greater threshold resistance. Not that no small person will do or no new entrepreneur will ever enter this field. I'm not trying to say this, but he is going to find increasingly a resistance threshold as far as new entrants are concerned. It may not be easy as it was possible perhaps for Flipkart or for other new entrants to enter with a limited capital. It may not be possible anymore. It might be very difficult. The size of the market is so big that it is going to attract large investments, and these large investments are going to be increasing. Even if we talk about Flipkart alone, something like $550 million they say they have raised and they are going to employ for expansion. With all this thing, 2015 you might also see increasing demand for the regulatory laws for e-commerce. There is virtually this is totally grey area as far as regulatory laws are concerned. There is, I mean, after that $1 billion a day debacle of Flipkart, I think there is increasingly a need to bring this under some kind of consumer protection. And if this happens, this demand gets the momentum, I think eventually this year or maybe a year after, you might see more and more control which might take charge of this field. I have more or less covered the basic areas and the areas where there will be challenges. I still believe that with all said and done, like when we talk about exports from India, we are very enthused. Somebody doing the export of 100 crore or 150 crore, you feel he is walking at the top of the cloud. We don't realize that in the world share of the trade, India is yet less than 2%. We are less than 2% of the world trade. And that is a challenge. That barrier of 1.5%, 2%, last 30 years I've been talking about, it is yet not broken. because of the huge market at home, there is a tremendous pull for serving this market rather than going out and marketing aggressively. And to some extent, the policies of the government are also responsible for frustrating the export effort. With all these things which we are talking about, 100 billion turnover and all that, I think this is just nothing, because it will still be around 1% of the total business turnover of this country. The GDP pattern in this country again is changing rapidly. You once upon a time had agrarian economy where agriculture contributed heavily towards the GDP. Then came industry. Today, it is the service sector which contributes more than 60% of the GDP. Similarly, in the delivery and marketing of the goods and services, I think, like the service sector taking over lion's share in GDP, I think time will come, maybe 10 years, 15 years down the road, when because of the urbanization, because now working husband and wife has become a compulsion in the house, now the distances matter, because now the people have a tremendous pressure on their time, the e-commerce increase is going to find increase in acceptance. And it is there where the opportunity once again will find a fillip or acceleration in the years to come. So it is an area, I think you have organized this conference at a very, very opportune time. Those who are graduating will find immense opportunities in this area. Some of you who are bitten by an entrepreneurial bug may find tremendous opportunities to tag you on along with any one of the growing opportunities in this sector. This is an area of opportunity for tomorrow. This is a sector which will see investment in excess of even major sectors like construction or major sector like industry. So this is, as far as the investment is concerned, this is going to be a major sector. As far as the turnover is concerned, this is just beginning. It is just we are scratching the earth. As far as the technology is concerned, this is again going to be changing very fast and offering new and new opportunities. As far as the consumer compulsions and the preferences is concerned, this is the sector which has a tremendous scope because of the urbanization, micro-families, a working housewife and a husband, all these compulsions, and finally, increasing per capita disposable income. This is going to be used in non-food acquisition items. And once you have higher income, once you are going to think about non-food items, obviously items which you can buy through this route will have a preference in your mind. I think these are all the factors which will propel the growth, and I will not be surprised if by 2020, instead of 100 million, it crosses 150 million, and still it remains much lower than what China would be at that time. So this is a most opportune time when you organize this conference. I am sure you have experts who will be talking on the subject in much greater details. I am not competent to do that. I have looked at it in a broader sense as an economist or as a person who is concerned with the management and the marketing aspect. You will have the detailed insight as far as the technology and technical aspects are concerned during the deliberations during the day. I am very happy once again to be here. I wish the deliberations during the day great success and hope that some of you will take few lessons home, out of which few years back you will have somebody who might recollect that, yeah, on that day, that conference was the beginning where the enterprise idea got germinated in my mind. I wish you all the luck and wish you a great time ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Narayan Vyas sir, for such a wonderful speech. It was really very inspiring and a knowledge enrichment session for us. And we very well mentioned that today we have got a wide scope for e-business, like you said, food to fashion, technology to trading, engineering to entertainment, and sky is the limit. Very well explained by him. And right now we may have questions, as Narayan Vyas sir is not going to stay for a long time. We may have questions from the audience. Anybody who would like to raise their questions and get it very solved. Yes, we have one question.
બીજો પ્રશ્ન પહેલો જવાબ અસરકારક કાયદાકીય પગલાં હજુ કાયદો જો કોઈ કાયદો directly governs this is a new field. It will need development because government is capable of messing even in simple fields. This is not that it's going to be very, very difficult to regulate this, but it can be done. As far as the retail trade is concerned, I think again the important thing is logistics. If you have the logistics, if you have the storage facilities, if you are able to deliver, if you are able to deliver on the ship, this will need a lot of investment. It's not going to be a small job. You can act as somebody's retail outlet. Say maybe you will take Flipkart's godown franchising or other kind of thing, tag around. But of your own, increasingly it will become difficult to get into this. Just
a couple of information was very good about the Indian postal services, the largest in the world, as you see, right? And the biggest challenge in e-commerce is, the supply chain management. And still, the private players are not that big. They are covering hardly 15,000 pin codes, and we have 150,000 pin codes. Is government looking seriously to become aggressive towards their own internal, this delivery system, to make it more mature, more serious about it, so that when this e-commerce, rather than, in USPS, like in US, this USPS, along with DHL and all other FedEx and everybody is there. Still, USPS people do prefer because it's government, it's sure. So in the similar context, this Indian Post is becoming serious about.
But you see the long back. The Post were facing virtually the extinction because of the other alternatives. Even courier services have created a serious dent in postal services.
But then,
then government is like a dinosaur. You bring the tail, the brain gets the shock after a few years. So now they have got the shock, at least that's the better part of it. The dinosaur is now in the motion, and when it moves also like a dinosaur. So they have got a 12% share. Hopefully it will improve.
Hello. But people are not aware of or there is a requirement.
But there are mentors there, I don't think they are adequate. Because the changing needs of the recruitment in almost every field are such that unless you have a dynamic scrutiny facility, this will again not work. So there is, according to me, a lot of scope for starting this kind of a platform, despite of some of them existing already in the market. That the unemployment or underemployment, which is the major cause of grudge amongst the educated, is 66%. Against that, there is zero unemployment. Is again a serious question mark regarding the delivery system itself, whether the education, it doesn't provide the really employable staff. So again, this is a big question mark for the educational institutions.
Business and e-commerce caters mostly to the urban area, which you said is around 40%. My question is regarding the 60% remaining, how the very e-business and e-commerce is going to enrich their lives and better their prospects for a better development.
No, I say it's part of urban trade areas. That is 40% of the population. What I mean was the smartphones being getting penetrated in almost every nook and corner. Is accessibility point of view, no problem getting access to this. The question is delivery logistics. As I told you that out of 150,000 pin code numbers, only 15,000 are serviced by the courier services. That is the constraint. The other is not the constraint.
I have two questions in my mind. First, what the government and the business and the local people should do to promote the business and e-commerce. Second, how far how far local dealers, local business and employers will be affected by this event?
You said what government should do. The government should be the least obstruction authority. That is the first requirement. So if government cannot do anything, at least they should not put to be an obstruction. They should have clear-cut laws so that litigations can be avoided, and the activity otherwise should not be unnecessarily regulated. As far as the private individuals are concerned, I think the entrepreneurs are better placed to realize their opportunities. No course teaches the real entrepreneurship, which is, according to me, the gist. So once you realize it and once you are clear about the investment opportunity, I think that is the first thing. That is the correct step that you are taking. I think barring that, the business is something which grows either or goes. If you are on the correct track, it goes. If you are on the wrong track, it goes. Either you expand, it grows. You don't expand, it goes. Yes, please.
National level. Then in the late 90s or so, I was speaking in early 2000 period, it got introduced the mall concept. Now this same mall concept is facing this challenge of latest e-business. So what should be the future, or what would be the probable future of this mall concept in the light of this e-business?
Attendant auxiliary or auxiliary sector and not in the major sector. Main sector, looking to the size of the business, is going to attract more and more larger investment companies, and if you cannot grow to that size, you will be either acquired because we are in the era of acquisition and mergers, or you will lose your place. So either ways, you will not remain what you were. Therefore, I think you should find a niche area where you can tag around along with any successful e-commerce activity and grow along with that line. That would be a better thing to do with the limited resources rather than to try for the impossible and ultimately fall flat on the ground.
Done business of 1,200 crore in a matter of 2 or 3 hours. The next day, the Association of Retailers contacted our commerce minister to stop this. So is this e-commerce is going to make more unemployment or more unemployment?
Well, the era of mechanical age began. People were talking, you Peter, seen the picture Narayan to be something which was creating unemployment. A bridge was considered to be creating unemployment. Nothing has happened. The industries have grown, along with others also have grown. Only thing is, you have to reshape or remodel your activity. You have to be dynamic to reshape yourself. If you can do that, no activity in this country is ever going to come to some level where you will be throttled. If you are dynamic, if you can see the opportunity, and if you are able to also visualize the change, like post offices were not able to visualize that courier services the day they started making dent into them. Like what this road transport corporations are not visualizing that the private transporters have made dent into that. Where there is the comfortable routes, where profitable routes they are running, where the load factor is low, the Gujarat State Road Transport Corporation, ultimately it is perpetual loss of company. Now there you have to find out how you can combat this kind of a situation and still keep afloat. So I think time to time we will need to have reorientation, and that reorientation also applies the field of education and training. Unfortunately, especially being an engineer, I can tell you that the field of engineering, this is very, very slow. I have seen engineering colleges where their workshops and laboratories are museums of engineering and technology rather than the present day technology. So if you change, nothing wrong. If you do not, you will disappear like dinosaurs. That is where the problem arises.
So we are talking about the business and specifically for the management college for e-business.
Very good question. I'll answer you from out of your own title. You said you are from the Institute of Management. Now, look at the word manage. What does it tell you? Split it from middle of it. Man and age. By virtue of your education, qualifications, experience, if a man comes to an age, that is managed. You are supposed to be inculcating that aging process, the maturity process, the competence process through your education. So anything that creates that is the goal as far as management institutions are concerned. You call supervisory role. Super is a superior quality. Vision means trusting. If you have a superior quality of vision, you have a supervision. The title doesn't make you supervisor. And therefore, when you say you are a manager, you are manager. You are supposed to be inducting knowledge, competence, capabilities among the subordinate staff. Then only you are a good team leader. This is what is your education, and this is what your education should be. So far, so you provide this kind of education, your product will never fail in the market.